live. All right. Cool. We are live. Greetings, fellow traders. Let me get this tweeted out so everybody join in here. 1 second, please. So we got that here, and we also are live on ShareVision. So be sure to check this out here as well. Boom. Cool. For some reason that doesn't like to tweet out. I don't know why, but it goes. It's tweeted. I believe it's tweeted. Yeah. Let's see, does that actually play here? I already said that, so let's see what happens if I do this. Let's see, share vision. Okay, so it takes us to the link here. Make sure that comes through. Okay, it is coming through pretty good. That looks pretty good. Just clicking on the Twitter link that takes us right to share vision, so that's good. Cool, and of course YouTube can be streamed right there in Twitter, and good stuff. Let me take a look at this here. Let's show our update. Let's see if we can post this here. No, I'm gonna delete that there. So many places to post. So many places to post. Futures chat. Let's see. Looking good. I know this market is amazing here today. It really is. Let that go. Also live and share vision. Cool. See how that goes there. Cool. Good, good, good. All right. Well, awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. Hope everybody's doing great out there and having a nice trading day so far today. Definitely interesting, right? So we're actually mostly at the main level here, right, for going long. So so good stuff here today. So we'll take a look at all this. Let me find. I've got a couple things. Hold on, I got a couple things that are crashing in the background. I think we're okay. No, we're good. So good. Yeah, so today, guys, we're going to be taking a look at stocks that have been moving here today. This morning, it's been a pretty wild morning here so far. Decent bounce in the S&P 500 and really, kind of a bigger bounce than expected, but not really in the overall. We'll take a look at the Elliott wave count in a little bit. But anyway, guys, before we get started, everything, of course, we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. So, guys, like I said, we're gonna take a look and see where we are with the market here today. We're gonna take a look at a few names that are moving. We're gonna take a look at some sectors, and basically what might be setting up going to the afternoon. We're also gonna take a little bit, and we're gonna go through the. We're gonna take a look at some of the main crypto. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then we're going to take a look at some of the names that have been popping up on ChatterQuant today and what we think about those and some of the charts that we're seeing on that based on social media sentiment. So, but anyway, guys, again, like I said, everything's for educational purposes only, not investment advice. So obviously review the disclaimer. If you haven't finished yet, give it an extra second there. And we'll take a look. And then, so what we'll do is we'll jump in and see here where we are with the market here today. Okay, guys. Well, here it is. This is the monthly chart here on SPX. Amazing stuff, right? We started to get a little bit of follow through yesterday off of last month's shooting star candle. Right, but as usual, the bulls don't like to stay down for too long, and unless those bears can really step up and get things going, I like to say there's a reason that they call it going short, right? Because you only want to be in it for a short amount of time, right? Because chances are there's going to be shorts are going to cover because they know, and then the bulls are going to step in and start pushing things. So again, we're back into last month's candle. Is this going to be it off of that shooting star candle going into the month of December? So it's possible, right? So we'll see how it goes. But in the meantime, we'll just go with the levels that we got. So obviously coming back into yesterday's range, the 45.60 strike was important. Once we reclaimed that level day, we actually chopped around that for a little bit today. Once we pushed above that level, we got a nice little move into the last month candle here so far. So good stuff there. Let's take a look at the weekly price action and see how it's going here so far. Again, very, very similar, right? So once we got back into that prior month's range, right, we're starting to make a move up here. But what was the big thing here with the weekly chart? Now, do I feel like that we got enough downside follow through off of this bearish engulfing candle? Yeah, I mean, it's not really up to me to determine, right? But it's definitely in a in terms of what I would expect off of these weekly charts. I think a pullback here on the weekly chart to the mid Bollinger Band, I think, is pretty good off of a bearish engulfing candle. I would definitely call that follow through, right? So this week right here, I don't think that was quite bearish. Let's see, it was 35.43. The open was just shy of bearish engulfing, but you can see it took a while, right? It took like 3 weeks, like 2.5 weeks to get to the mid Bollinger Band, and we did that here within a day, right? So I would say that was pretty decent. So follow through off that bearish engulfing candle, and it certainly was ominous. But now we really want to see Jameis. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in on ShareVision. Really appreciate it. So cool. And we're also on YouTube too. So whichever one. But yeah, enjoying the ShareVision. It's pretty cool. I like it because it's dedicated just to like finance stuff, and I really hope it gets going. And gets big with really cool topics to kind of take out a lot of the noise out there. But really neat stuff. So anyway, guys, decent push here into these levels here on the weekly chart. Nice bounce off the mid Bollinger Band. That's your 20 week, right? So good move right there. And this is the level, guys. If you look at the title of the show here today, the Bulls are back, right? And so really it's all about this key level, right? And what key level is this? This is the macro upward trend line, right? So if we zoom back right here, this is one we talked about it last night, right? We talked about it in all our videos, how important this level is, and if you kind of go all the way back here to the Corona crash low, and you draw your trend line up, that is exactly the one that we bounced off of, right? So a nice move right there. So what I'm going to do, guys, since we already took out all these levels and we're still in an uptrend, because we didn't take out, I'm going to say we just kind of tagged that one right here. I'm going to take out this one, and I'm going to take out I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to take out this here too. I'm going to take out this resistance zone here too. You can actually use it as potential resistance too. You can kind of keep this up here and see if we don't get above there, right? That could be a little bit of resistance. So it's up to you if you want to keep that on here. Right now, I'm basically, instead of that, I'm just going to probably at this point look for wave counts. Paul in our group in the Discord has been, has looked at a lot of these as really kind of sharp ABC moves down. It is possible that this was a zigzag down. I want to give it a little more chance because I've got a different wave count on it too, just based on the structure of this drop. Now, it very well could be an ABC, but it may also just be a wave one, right? So in other words, the top might be in, and we could be looking at something like this, right? So this is essentially wave one down. Right, and this is why I'm not surprised that we're going to bounce. And we can bounce off a nice key level right here. This is, kind of wave two up, maybe 618 retrace, getting everybody excited, like, yeah, we're going back to all-time highs. And then, boom, wave three down, and see it, we get to, like, the 200-day moving average, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking as a possibility. And then 4 or 5, and, consolidate, get to the 30-week, and kind of go from there. So, but it is possible, right? Just kind of as a quick recap here on the SPX and the 50-day moving average, and we basically just undershot the 50-day moving average for a day, and we bounced off of it, right? So even if it's just purely algo driven, right, that 50-day moving average is so powerful, right? You get, again, it was an important level too to cross above as well, right? The 50-day is sitting at, that 46.43, so that gives us that nice momentum move up and brings us back there. But you can see here all these previous bounces. Let's auto zoom here. All these previous bounces off the 50-day moving average. This is the red line right here. So it's like bounce, undershooting up, bounce, undershooting up, bounce, 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 undershooting up, bouncing here so far, right? So a little bit of an undershooting up here. So and right off the macro upper trend line. So pretty important stuff there on the SPX. So what am I looking at that's a little bit different than just a simple ABC pullback right here? I'm not, like I said, guys, I like to say this all the time. I am not a perma bear, but for some reason, bearish counts are more fun to look at in Elliott Wave, right? And give us a little bit more of a little bit more of a opportunity to look for short opportunities. So again, this has been a tough count on the way down, and I really don't see it as a true ABC. I guess it could be a WXY, right? Because you kind of have this ABC, ABC, ABC. It's actually kind of like this what is it, like the WXYZ, right? I mean, so you got that huge continuation pattern on the downside here for the WX. Let me see what Paul's got here as for his count on that. Give me 1 second on his index. If we go here. Yeah, interesting. So he's still got a very similar account that I do. Yeah, he's got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He called that a wave C. I guess that could be an ending diagonal, expanding diagonal for wave C on the S&P. And this whole move, the first move down was actually a wave A, B, C, and that was a WXY. So he's basically has a similar account that I do. So that's cool. he's such a pro, guys. If anybody is interested, definitely check out the links in the description and check out our Discord. And if you like to bounce Elliott wave off of people, check out Paul. I like bouncing waves off wave counts off him all the time. Right, I get a lot of good knowledge off of that, and good experience. So good stuff there. So ultimately, what he's looking at here on the on this wave count is that this was actually, we're basically still in kind of this larger flat pattern, right? So that instead of this being a wave 4 and a wave 5 like I have here, although I think it does look pretty good, you do have this. He's got this as an A, B ending diagonal C for the finish of a corrective wave, and we might be starting a larger impulsive wave up right here. I like my count. I like this right here. I like his too. I think it's, again, like we said, we talked about it just the other day, guys. We talked about alt counts, right, and the importance of alt counts, and being able to respond to price action, and and determine whether or not which count is valid, right, based on the price action. So right now we do have impulsive action up, but it doesn't, to me, it doesn't mean we're necessarily bullish, or unless we just spike like the all-time highs or something like that, right? So so what I've got here is that this is wave 5, that we're done in a way, right? So we kind of had this, and we've been tracking this really nicely right here. ABC down 1, 2, 3, ABC 4, wave 5, right? So a nice wave 5 finish. And then we started to get this impulsive downside action, right? So we had this ABC-ish type move down. Thought we were going to see more downside, right? We tracked this back here, that this looked like a 1, 2, 3, 4 triangle right here, if y'all recall, and then maybe an overshoot right here, and then wave 5, but we never got that, right? And then we overlapped here, right? So even if this was wave 1, right, you can see right here we overlapped here, so it kind of invalidated that as a wave. So the only other thing you can look at is either as a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So this 1, 2, 1, 2, and it just kept on being all these 1, 2, 1, 2s, but we were expanding at the same time, right? On this chart, right, on these lines. And so they kept on the higher highs, and then lower lows, higher highs, lower highs, lower lows, but still expanding. And so when you get that, you think like, okay, well, we're either a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, we're gonna have this huge wave 3 down, right? And a lot of the downside action has been really impulsive, right, really fast, which has been fun. Right, and today's price action, not, the bullish price action, you got a lot of lower shadows right here, so it's been tough to stay involved all day today, right? Especially it's a 1 DTE day as well, so it makes it, it makes it a little bit tricky. And then we run out of steam, right now, right? We're just working on an inside 60 right now. So we got this big push up right here off of this candle after it dipped, right? After this nice dip, so we're getting higher highs, higher lows intraday, but it's it's calming down up here, right? So it doesn't feel that impulsive. Right now. And so what that does is that leads us to the possibility that this was an expanding diagonal, right? So we have this 1, 2, this is a little bit of a stretch right here, 3, right? Because it's kind of, I guess you could say this is an ABC down, right? 3, 4, ABC up, 4, 5, right? So we kind of finished that whole wave 1, so that's wave 5 of 1. And then if wave 1 is indeed done, which we suspected it might be, then we could be working on this this wave 2 corrective pattern. Right, and so this actually just could be, wave A right now, and we could be looking at like a zigzag-ish move up to the upside, right? This could be our impulsive wave up. We see another move down, see another move up, and then we'll see how we handle the 618 if this thing wants to keep on going, right? But at the same time, what I really like about this expanding diagonal is that it actually gives us a nice geometric level of resistance too. So even if we get above the 382, right, we might stay below this level, and we could just still be looking in this holding pattern of this 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Which means that we're building up so much energy for a large downside push, right? And that's certainly possible too. Right, we got tapering coming. We got Omnicron Omnichrome out there, right? All 4 rims Omnichromed out, and so we've got that going on, right? So that's a possibility. We got Russia, China, the usual stuff, right? Iran now making, increasing their capabilities to enrich uranium, right? No sanctions or anything like that. Oh, it's fine. Just enrich it a little bit more. They're not going to use it for anything other than power generation, right? So anyway, so we got all that stuff going on. Plus inflation, right? Which is no longer, according to Jay Powell, who is trying to use Omnichrome as a scapegoat for the inflation that is just been massively created by the massive printing of dollars, right? So, other than that, trying to use Omnichrome, but also talking about, well, maybe it's time to stop using the word transitory, for inflation. Okay. So what do we use now? I guess persistent is the new word. We have persistent inflation. I like deflation. I like when prices are cheap. I was like, no, deflation's bad. I don't know. I like getting stuff at lower prices. Anyway, so good stuff there. But anyway, guys, so we definitely want to keep an eye on it, see how it goes. Like, we went from an inside candle, we pushed above, and then we actually just kind of came back in red here. So again, really, really tricky price action here today overall. I know it's bullish. I know it's nice, and I don't know how many people out there on FinTwitch are like, yeah, I bought the dip, and there was a good dip, right? I mean, this is the place to buy it, but is it the place to hold it, right? Is the question, right? So you go to the daily chart, right off this level right here. Well, okay, 50-day move average is good, and maybe we can get up to the 80 man. That's tough to hold, right? Unless you got some nice debit spreads early. There's something else, or you're just awesome, which I have no doubt about. So anyway, so good stuff there. So anyway, so we could be working on this kind of choppy wave 2 pattern, and if that happens, we end up rejecting a lot of these levels up here and can't fill the gap and all that stuff, we might see a larger wave 3 down, right? And I kind of drew this last night for you guys. And so, we basically, projected some moves. We could actually make this this projection a little bit better here. It's still pretty good. If this is the case, right? If this is the case, right, what we'd want to do is go here, right? So this is wave 1, and this is just saying we're precisely at all these Fibonacci levels, right? So wave 2, right? Where does wave 4 go? Or I'm sorry, where does wave 3 go? To the 1.618. Right, so that basically would take us here, assuming these fibs play out, right? These are the guideline fibs, right? So if we go here, wave 3, activate drawing, here, right? And then what we could do here is estimate the wave 4 as a 382 retrace of the wave 2 to wave 3, right? So here we would go here, and I'll take this off here for now, here to here, right? 382 pullback here. I'm going to activate this. Drag it over here. Thanks so much TOS for going nice and slow here for me. It's like, there we go. Wave 4, right? And then ultimately wave 5, which we would expect here. Right, to go to the 0.618 retrace here. So, and that would be here. Here, here, here. Right, so we go here to here. Right, and there's your 0.618 right there. So there's your 4177. So basically take us down to about 4200, potentially, right, if this wave plays out. But this is definitely a framework that I'm going to be tracking here. We're going to be tracking. So let me get this here. Activate. Activate. Abdicate Omnichrome from the Decepticons. So we got this here, so remove this. Ooh, market's really quiet, isn't it? Anytime I don't hear the squawk, right? Anytime I don't hear the squawk, and and you stop seeing things like really kind of ticking around on your tickers, you're like, oh wow, we are definitely in the lunchtime hour right here. I'm expecting a little bit end of the day shenanigans today, and again, it could be bullish, it could be bearish, right? Especially if this is wave 2 that we're working on. That we could get some end of the day action, because we have been really tight, generally pretty tight here on the intraday. So we just want to see, if we get any sort of breakout or breakdown into the end of the day, and it could be interesting. So anyway, guys, that's what we're looking at here. Wave 1 down, potentially finished. Wave 2 up. Wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, expanding diagonal, expanding leading diagonal. Very rare, but could be the case. And again, it's hard to ignore the fact that we just kind of have all these overlapping waves, right? Very, very rare. And big, too, the big waves. This is not just like, this type of stuff in here. We're like, okay, look, we got a little triangle and all this. This is like, right? This is very noticeable, right? And I think important to keep an eye on. So anyway, guys, that's why I mentioned this. So anyway, good stuff. That gives us a framework to look forward with going the next couple of days. So that's why we're not. That's why we weren't super duper bullish on this move today, even though we are up 70 points today, right? Not too super duper bullish on it, because wave 2s are very, very tough to trade. Wave A's are very, very tough to trade, right? And so you can kind of see that kind of these lower shadows, kind of that grindy price action here. It's not like yesterday where it was like, oh, this is awesome, this is so awesome, right? But just kind of that choppy type of price action, right? So, which is indicative, of a wave two anyway. Okay, so cool. So that's SPX. So yeah, that gives us a nice framework here going forward. Let's take a look at SPY and see what kind of volume we got coming in here today. We actually had some pretty decent volume on the S&P futures, which we'll probably take a gander at in a little bit. We're about halfway through the range right here. It's coming up on 1 o'clock Eastern time. So that being said, right, we just want to just kind of see how this volume picks up here going into the rest of the day. Nice bounce off the 50-day moving average on this one as well. Here's the S&P futures, and let me show you what we looked at this morning. I was trying to be like, oh, it's low volume on this slow move up. This grind up, but it really wasn't, right? It was actually pretty big volume, right? So usually opening candle, on a normal day, quote unquote normal day, we usually see the opening candle about 30,000 contracts, something like that. When you start seeing like 60,000 contracts, things like that, things start to get interesting. What is interesting is that we did break down below this bear channel here overnight, right? And then we just got to start to rip, right? But here's a 9:30 candle right here, 55,000 contracts, and the next candle, and this is bullish, and we have members that went long on this when we pointed out this bullishness this morning. 57,000 got increased volume on the second 5-minute candle. That's significant, right? Anytime you get, we always like that, especially in the 15, right? Where but on the 5, you can start getting more volume coming in here. There's some buying going on, right? And then with that, this is just what I like to call the drift, the after volume drift right here. So this is the where you don't want to force, right? But if you can get involved in the momentum and then just kind of let things ride, right? Then things are good, right? So that's your nice wave up right there, right? It's like surfing, right? And then you have this ABC down, so kind of here's your wave 1, 2, and now it's like a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Again, or kind of like a leading ending diagonal, right? That type of thing. So, or an ending diagonal on the way up. So we got back into the channel right here. Obviously, this level was tested a few times here today, and then we found some resistance up here so far at the top of the channel from overnight and into the value area low. And we did say once we got in that value area low, there's some room. So again, if we are bullish into the close, there is some clean air on our futures chart to 46.30 if they really wanted to get there. But it doesn't right now. It's looking like a little bit blah. So we'll see how that goes here going into the afternoon. MES. Again, same thing, right? Obviously just kind of keep an eye on those levels, keep an eye on the channel levels right here. If we do start to break down pretty hard, when we're kind of seeing like a little bit of a tweezer top right there, we may, work our way down here to the bottom of the channel. So that's a possibility here as well. Let's take a look at tech. Let's take a look at the Qs and see what they're doing here today. So Qs are the big dip buy. Initially, right, and a lot of similar channels here this morning, guys. In the bubble report this morning, we drew these levels for everybody. We said, hey, this is looking bear flaggish. We started to break down pre-market, came back in the range, the top of the flag outside. And this is the type of volatile, high volatility price action which is challenging, right? But if we go to the daily chart here on the Qs. Sorry to be, have a conviction. We never got to the 50-day moving average on the Qs, right? So it's just the SPX so far. So tech had some relative strength, then it had some relative weakness today. So it's kind of doing its thing as we go into the afternoon. IWM. We did see a bounce on the airline names, the casinos, things like that. So you can see that here as well. XLF has been a huge, right? The financials have been huge, for the IWM, and you can actually see a pretty interesting harmonic pattern right here that played out. Right, we got this nice drop right here today. Got this retrace right here, this, and this. All right, so for a nice overnight harmonic, right, for a good move right there. And if you go to this, here, right, we're almost at this 0.618 extension. Right, so pretty cool move there on the XLF for an overnight. Let me grab this real quick. I want to post this as an example in our Discord real quick. Apple breaking down here too. Berkshire Hathaway, there you go. There's something you can trade at the end of the day. It was on CNBC. Let's take a look here, and let me just put this in the harmonics right here. Nice overnight harmonic on XLF. Anyway, pretty cool stuff. So that being said, let's go back here and check. Okay, so that's the XLF. Let's take a look at the VIX, guys. Really important stuff here. This is the big one, right? This is where things get interesting, right? So the VIX is not dropping like it should if this market were really going to be super duper stable, right? So the VIX is over 20 and it is saying it wants to stay here at least for now, right? So we're kind of looking at even possibly falling wedges right here. So definitely keep an eye on these levels right here. If this breaks out at the end of the day, look for more short side going into the afternoon, right? So this is important, right? Because the VIX is not dropping yet, right? We are just an inside day right now. It's not like we were up and then had a big red day right here. It's we're showing some. It's not transitory, right? Volatility is not transitory right now, so we got that going on. And we got a request in the Discord right here. We got Baba. Let me just take a look quickly at this one. Yeah, possible doji sandwich on this one. Still tagging the 120 on this one. See how it closes here today. Sharp drop on Baba, and then a quick buy on that. So very very interesting there with the volume. Former Baba employee. Goodness gracious. Where's Jack Ma, everybody? Where's Jack Ma? Show me Jack Ma. And then we'll see. But in the meantime, it's kind of doing its thing. Again, it just keeps on slipping on this Baba. And weekly chart just look at the monthly chart, guys. Big bearish engulfing candle on the monthly. This is why we take notice of this stuff, guys. Big bearish engulfing candle right here. Another red candle. Upper shadow. Uh-oh, it's trending. Another bearish engulfing candle. See ya. Baba. Have a nice day. Right? So anyway, pretty cool stuff there, too. Good. So we have that on the radar here as well. We'll take a look at... There, we had that. We had Baba on the radar. Nice stuff there. There, right after the VIX. Okay, cool. All right, let's run through a couple more names, and if anybody wants to see anything too, we'll take a look at those. But for the most part here, let's take a look at Apple and see how that's doing here today. Apple with a big dip buy. It looked like it was trying to go for that gap fill. Got positive gamma here today and kind of made a nice push. So we'll see. If it doesn't close here today, look for gap resistance. But are we surprised that Apple gap down today? No, right? I mean, we had a big shooting star candle off of that way. It was some unusual put activity yesterday, and then the news came out after hours, right? So that was kind of the big deal with Apple today. We did point out a short this morning on the live stream, just because why not, right? I mean, it was a pretty boring morning overall, right? So, but I liked it. It was still in a bearish trend. I usually like extra volatility from these big gaps and news type moves. So we did have this nice reversal candle here. You can see a nice reversal doji right here, and that got us short here this morning with a short idea, and it got right to our zone, our support zone, held that, and then it bounced off of that too. So again, why don't you trade this one long? Maybe next time. Anyway, so good stuff there. Let's take a look at Tesla and see how Tesla's doing. Tesla just horrible nastiness here today, but this is good news. This is good news. Nice choppy action on Tesla today. We actually thought it would get to 1050 today. It didn't quite do it. We were stalking some ideas here to get below that closing gap, but just didn't really set up for us. A couple little tops right here, but what I like about Tesla is the big day yesterday, big bearish engulfing day, right? Broke down below the geometric lines right here, and I like today as a pause day, which means tomorrow, or one way or another, it could be a reversal. Tomorrow, Tesla is always fun to trade on Friday. Well, not always, but it is fun. It can be fun to trade on Friday. So we're hoping for some nice setups for Friday tomorrow for Tesla. So I like what it's doing here today for us for going into tomorrow. Visa. Everywhere you want to be, and it was on the live stream this morning. Talk about a 180-degree reversal, guys. This is huge. It's not quite a hard reversal off here. We didn't gap above a red candle. If you ever see a gap above a red candle, right, that's just your breakout move, right? Your breakout reversal. So, like here, you had a red candle right here. If you gapped above the prior day's high, it's with a green candle. It's like, see ya, right? So those are really powerful. It's got a kicking candle, right? So we didn't quite kick here today, but we did have a nice gap up here today and push. And we pointed out Visa this morning. I don't know why it was so super duper strong. Maybe they're excited about like increased credit card applications. There's a little bit of news on that. Kind of a harmonic here overnight on this one, but we did point it out in the long side this morning. It's still going. So a nice move there on Visa. We pointed out recently in the public Twitter as well when it was super duper strong on Black Friday, and it gave a decent trade. It's not great on spreads for day trading, but it's okay if you can catch a good move on it. All right, let's jump over to TradingView here and take a look at some of our crypto names. So I've got Bitcoin here. I just love these charts here on TradingView. Very very clean, right? So nice move, nice candles here. Let me just show you this. A couple upper shadows here off of the downtrend line, right here. So just have to be careful right there. We may come back and retest this support zone, and then if we could break out of here with some strength, right, Bitcoin could get going. And then Ethereum, I know a lot of folks like this one here too. Again, almost a tweezer's top right here. Pull back here. Let's see how it handles the retest of the prior downward trend line on Ethereum. So those are kind of the big names that we're tracking here as well. And others than that, while we're here, before we look at any other names, let's just jump over to ChatterQuant. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Anybody who's picked this up with some of the recent discounts too. We've got this. I just saw some news. U.S. regulators move step closer to delisting China companies. Okay, so that's interesting too. Yeah, so that must have definitely affected it. Wow, definitely affected Baba on that one. Good reason for a Baba move. Nice. Good find on that one. Okay, so with the ChatterQuant guys, really super duper tool. Again, gives us some ideas to look at different names. PayPal was interesting a little bit earlier, but DAL was a good one, and of course Apple was interesting as well. And Nvidia has been pretty hot here today too. So let's take a look at a couple of those and just see what they're looking like here going into the afternoon. So PayPal was mentioned about an hour ago. PayPal is tough, guys. This is not one for me. I've talked about it a couple times. I know we're holding the zone down here, and it gave a nice move. I just don't think it's just going to bounce like that, right? So again, this is a little bit ago on this nice push right here. You can see some good volume on this one, kind of pulling back. See if the retrace is viable. But for me, I think this is going to consolidate for a little bit. So let's kind of keep an eye on that one. Apple, obviously, had some nice move, nice dip buy on that one. So I think the ChatterQuant was pretty good with finding the dip buy on that. And we were expecting some volatility on it, so a good move there. Like I said, we looked at the reversal today, but not quite there. And then Nvidia has been just super duper hot today. With a nice higher low and a push through our zone, and just kind of look where it's kind of calming down. It's right at the this base drop area. So this whole base area right here is just having trouble getting out of these areas. So so not as much as I'd like to see there with strength. So it's finding some resistance here as well. So a couple nice ones from ChatterQuant. Like I said, not every post they put is a setup, but at least it gives us something to look at to say like, hey, there's some talk about this name and it might be moving or getting ready to move. So so we like to look at that. Okay, let's run through a couple more names here, guys. A little bit lightning roundish, and then we'll wrap up here for the lunchtime show because we got to eat, right? So let's take a look at a couple other names here. Let's take a look at Amazon's. Things are moving here going into tomorrow. So Amazon, guys, interesting. I'd like to see if it, honestly, I would have liked to see it tag the 50-day moving average and start to bounce off of it. Maybe it'll do it tomorrow. So definitely keep an eye on that one. Roku, this is getting interesting as well, especially if it turns into a nice green hammer candle. But right now, it could be a reversal doji. I'd like to see it stay green on that one. The SMH, again, got back to the 80 man, rejected that. That's why now we're seeing AMD, for instance, pulling back off of its 80 MA. NVIDIA, even though it gave a nice push there today, that is still above its 80 MA, but found a little bit of resistance at about the same time the SMH did, right? So so we got that going on. Another big one that's out there is mRNA, still working its way down into the gap, right? So there are vaccine names. Pfizer, goodness gracious, big upper shadow here. Another tweezer's top on this one. So let's see if that ends up getting back below the 80 MA here. Eventually, it's been a wild name, but the gap was defended. And then we got a couple other ones right here. We got Roblox on the radar. Again, still below the 80 MA on this one, despite a nice little bounce on that one. Boeing with China saying it's okay to fly or something like that. So I don't know how much I trust that one. And speaking of Chinese delisting names right there, CRWD, guys, with earnings going in today, big doji inside day. And then last one we want to look at here is Snow. With a doji sitting at the 80 MA today, guys. Well, we talked about the fade potential on this one today. You can see it faded all the way down to the cloud. We've been seeing a lot of bad ticks here recently, but this is one we pointed out at the open today that this one could get a little more downside action, and it did. So, but it certainly did not get below yesterday, so it was fine. So we ended up bouncing off the cloud there too. So again, wild name right here. But again, when we gap up into this selling pressure, we usually don't see like major price action unless we start to clear some of those levels, like we talked about last night. Okay, guys, cool. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the show here. I definitely enjoyed, going through this stuff with you. Hopefully find it edifying, right? The wave counts and the way we look at candlesticks. And I hope everybody has a good rest of the trading day today. We're going to be on top of this stuff, and we'll see if we get at the end of the day action here on this 1 DTE day and where we go from there. So anyway, guys, once again, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the market wrap where we'll update on all the stuff a lot of the stuff we were looking at here today. And until then, guys, stay healthy out there and remember your risk